1980, ladies and gentlemen. Please give him a warm welcome, Jules Buckley.
Thank you very much indeed, and welcome to the largest male voice choir in Europe. Now, what we're going to do is to start, we're going to compose a little piece. Apologies to the ladies in the room, but there's not enough of you to give me a proper harmonic structure. However, I know where the real brains are. Men, take note. So we're going to start with three simple things. The first is, this is number one, right? Number one is, we're going to breathe real quietly like this. On my signal, everyone's going to do that. Ready? Come on, you guys. I can't hear you. At the back, imagine things are rolling across the desert. You guys, come on. Keep it going. That's one, stop. Two is we're going to hum. Any note you want, any low note. Let's try that. Here's two, and. That is fantastic. Let's try that again, just because it feels good. Here it comes again, number two, and. A host of ants attack the nest, looking for food. Okay, great, stop. Number three is going to be a massive bellowed shout, like, ah, or it can just be a noise, whatever you want. Everyone's got to get involved. You've had a long day. Number crunching has been going on. Forget the numbers, guys. We're back in the real world here. Back with the musicians. Back with the artists. Are you ready? So you can scream, you can shout, whatever you want. On three, you ready? The three sign, and. Okay, this is good. So now let's just do a little piece. We're going to divide the room, right, left. Who's going to start? Who knows? Okay, I'm not going to say anything from now on. Okay, great. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what the hell is he going on about? But the reality of it is that as a conductor, you have about 30 seconds when you first step into a room full of people. Now, most orchestras range from, chamber orchestras of 50 people up to symphony orchestras of 90, plus choirs of 100. So actually, we're still, and this is the good news, guys, we're still the largest male voice choir in Europe. But you have 30 seconds with which to interact and to gain the trust of your ensemble. And so the reason I'm here today is basically to pass on the message that, when the red light does come on and when the pressure hits, the only thing that will get you through the performance is trust. That's the bottom line between conductor and ensemble and between musicians within the ensemble. So now that that's over, now that the short task is over, I'll sort of explain my background. So I was a jazz trumpeter, studied in London. I always wanted to be a conductor, and I also write music. And somewhere along the line, the two came together, conducting and orchestrating. And these days, I basically spend my time arranging music for non-classical artists with classical ensembles, or in the case of the Metropole, which is a unique orchestra, it's a non-classical symphonic orchestra. So a typical example would be Caro Emerald. Anyone not heard of Caro Emerald? Excellent. Caro Emerald wants to do an album, so she gets in touch with me. We go and get a big orchestra, we record it, we bring her with the orchestra, and then when we do it live in the Concertgebouw, we pull in the Metropole Orchestra for the ultimate sort of, spectacle. So my world is sort of connecting artist to orchestra. That's sort of the bottom line for me. In order to gain the trust of the musicians, I need three things. I need a skill set that it's complete. So part of this skill set would be, obviously, the conducting skills, the technical skills. So for example, here's another test. taking number 3 of our newly composed piece, we'll do 2 demonstrations. One is the clear demonstration, one is the unclear. I'll let you figure out which is which. So here we go. This is number 3, ladies and gents, on my signal. Okay, here's another one. Don't be fooled. Some conductors really do conduct like that. But the difference is, of course, is that the first thing is, in order to gain the trust of the ensemble from a technical perspective, I have to be clear in my movements. They have to know where we're going to move as we go through the concert. If there's a problem, maybe one of the musicians jumps a couple of bars, I need to know the signs in order to make them jump forward, to move back to get in with the ensemble. Another part that I need as a skill set is I need good rehearsal technique. Let's say I've only got an hour to rehearse, 40 minutes of music. I need to figure out what's the best way and the fastest way to do that. Run through the music, find the problems, isolate the problem, give the solution, and then rehearse that corner only. Next point is within the time, don't over-rehearse the music. Make sure that the musicians are energized and that you save enough for the performance. So that's sort of the technical skill set. Then, on top of that, there's the people skill set. I've just met you guys. We need to get on, in order to move forward. There's a man with the camera. If anything goes wrong now, he might start snapping. Next thing you know, yeah, you know what I'm saying, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it all goes out on it. Okay, so the technical element is one thing. The next thing is the knowledge element. I need to know as much as possible about the score that I'm working with, every note, every harmony, where the line is, where the focus is. I need to know about the instruments in the ensemble, and I need to know about the artist that I'm working with. What's their background, what's their genre. So here comes task number 2. This side of the room. I need someone to shout out an instrument. Come on. Guitar. Okay, now go for an orchestral instrument. That's called positively avoiding the question. Sorry? The violin. Okay, so what do I know about the violin? First thing I know is it's got 4 strings. The lowest note is a G, never right above a top B, an octave and a semitone above the stave. What else can I tell you? It's one of the most famous classical instruments ever. If you're going to work with an orchestra, you need to know everything about that instrument. Name a band. Guys on the right-hand side of the room, a band. U2. U2, fantastic choice. Aside from Bono, there's one guy in U2 who revolutionized guitar. He might have stolen his ideas from Robert Fripp. However, the Edge basically revolutionized the minimalistic, sample-based approach to guitar playing. So, if I'm working with a violinist and the Edge, then I can bring the 2 guys together because I know about both worlds. So that's kind of the knowledge part of that. Then the third part, which I need in order to keep the trust, is the vision. So what I haven't spoken about yet is that I write for orchestras all the time. I write for artists. And often part of my aim is to rework existing material in a new way. So I'll play you an example now, which is a Basement Jaxx tune called Red Alert. This is the original version of Red Alert. Here it comes. Okay, and then my idea was to bring, top UK house music duo together with Metropole Orkestra to do something completely different, and then we did this. Exactly the same. that is an example of one type of remix. And then here's another version. This is Armin van Buuren. This is his latest single, the original style. Here it comes. And then this is the more acoustically, orchestrally reworked version. So those three components of my world, which is the technique, the knowledge, and then the vision, those three combined enable me, when I work with an ensemble, to gain the trust as fast as possible. Because as a conductor, it's easy to think, okay, what does a conductor do, right? They just stand up in front of the ensemble, they kind of wave their hands in the air, they start to look pretty, or, in the case of the average 65-year-old bald fat conductor, maybe they don't. But, moving on, that's sort of my world, and those three components then gain me trust, which then brings us to the live performance. So I think, a question that's often on people's minds is, what do you do under the pressure of the performance? What happens if something does go wrong? And then as a conductor, that's where your skill set, where everything kind of combines, Like, let's take, for example, you're playing a piece, the artist is coming on stage, and don't get me wrong, ladies and gents, but this has happened before. The artist falls smack bang flat on their face, one bar before they're supposed to come in. So what do? You've got 90 people there, which is the equivalent of an oil tanker. So if you want to move this oil tanker, the only way to do it is with clear signs, is with clear knowledge, clear experience, and clear vision. So in that situation, they've fallen over here, face planted on the floor, and it's my job to try to fix it. So if I know the ensemble, which I will do, I'll show them a little sign, like the last 4 bars, we're going to loop the last 4 bars starting now. Then we'll loop these bars. We'll stay cool. Okay, he's back up. Oh no, you just tripped over again. And then once they're ready, then we go on to the next section. So that's sort of one thing that can happen. Another thing that can happen under pressure is sometimes artists don't want to perform. For example, I did a BBC prom in the summer, and there was a rapper. His name's Wretch32, he's a big UK rapper, and we had a Bob Marley track at the end where we had everyone kind of involved. And Wretch32's, his words were, "Yeah, blood, I don't want to do no song that's been done by dead people." Now, he told me this 3 minutes before going live on the BBC, live everywhere, big orchestra sat there. So in that situation, what do? So I looked amongst the other artists. I found my closest ally, who was Laura Mvula. She's a young UK singer. I went up to her. I said, "Look, you're doing a fantastic job. You sound amazing. I know you get on with Wretch. If you can get him to join in with the last song, I'll get you absolutely smashed later after the gig." Now, the reality was that lo and behold, Wretch32 suddenly comes on for the end, the last piece. He didn't really do anything, but he was there in spirit and, in form, and he was sort of moshing, but he was there. Other eventualities that can happen is, sometimes, like I said, a musician jumps in at the wrong place. With an opera singer or with a folk singer or a pop singer, sometimes they come in 8 bars early, and then it's my job to move the entire ensemble forward. And as I said at the beginning, and the whole point of this little chat is that without the trust of the ensemble, there's no way that I could do, that I could make that operation a possibility. I thought it might be nice to kind of open up the floor to a few questions. There I can better highlight sort of what I do, because I've run out of little tricks and jokes and
You've
stuff.
run out of trick, Jules. All right. Is there somebody who wants to ask a question to Jules? I don't know if they're lovers of the Metropole Orkestra. People start moving away, Jules.
Guys, you've had a long day. I know. But
So,
maybe...
yeah, somebody here. Yeah.
What happens if you notice that a musician is not prepared for the performance? So he didn't do the rehearsal or did not practice enough, so he's fooling around instead of playing the notes.
Yeah. I think in that situation, the rule number one is don't let the cat out of the bag. So, don't go and eyeball the musician and let them know, hey, are you going to be okay? Do you think you're going to get through? I think my approach would always be to just sort of go up to them, kind of be like, man, this is sounding great. I'll see you after the show. Like, make light of it. If you draw attention to something like that, they're going to be so nervous anyway that then you're really heading for a fall. So I would kind of completely avoid it and then just like crack a joke. I find with people, with musicians, it's the best way.
So are musicians different people to steer than, let's say, finance people?
Well, did I say that we're looking for, partners at the moment? No. No, but really we are. I think that it's all the same. It's all about people, like people skills, working with different people from different backgrounds, different environments. Everybody has their own personality, particularly their own way of working. And in orchestras, which is, my field, it's the only field I really know, is that the drummer can be completely different to the oboe player.
All right. So, and are there stars within the orchestra? Are there people that play the violin and they're very important? And
yeah, absolutely. So, for example, within Metropole Orkestra, we have a band at its core. So we have a drummer, a bass player, guitarist, keys. Now, the drummer is kind of like, he's your lieutenant. And if you ever see, ladies and gentlemen, a conductor with a drummer, and they're still conducting all the time, then you know that they don't know what they're doing. That's the only tip I'm ever going to give you, because once I bring the drummer in, he then is taking over the role, and I can stop conducting and just shape things. So yeah, there are stars within Metropole particularly, and within all orchestras. The other star is the concertmaster, the lady or the gentleman to your left. And in a typical classical orchestra, they're the guys you've got to get on board as fast as possible.
all right, somebody else with a question? Yeah, sir.
Could you tell me, James, was there any transformation you wanted to make with the orchestra when you started your current role?
You mean any orchestra in particular?
No, the Metropole Orkestra maybe. The transformation that you made with the Metropole Orkestra, and how did you do it?
Well, I've only just taken the job.
Really? How?
Did I say we're looking for partners? No. But I think, well, the transformation that I'm looking to do personally with Metropole is that, we have a very rich history, particularly to the Dutch people, and my plan is to bring us right up to the forefront and right onto the cutting edge. So we're going to be working with the top artists in the top venues, and in the public's eye.
So is it true that you're not only responsible for the musicality of the orchestra, but also for, let's say, the whole orchestra as a whole, as a business?
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Well, not the business. I don't know about the business part. Was that in the contract? No, but I'm responsible for the artistic output of the orchestra. So aside from when I'm working with them, how we play and how we put it together, I'm also responsible for selecting artists and writing the music.
All right. So in brief, what can we learn? Because the whole day we talked about conducting, and that's obviously your job, and their job is conducting on all other field. What do you think everybody can learn from you in a brief sentence? What shall we all pick up from your work in our daily lives? Go.
I think be clear, be relaxed, have a vision, and have structure. I think it's as simple as that.
Simple as that. Jules Buckley, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Jules, thank you very much. It was great. Thank you. Thank you.